the FIBA World Cup 2023 Global Ambassador, a 3-time Olympic gold medalist, a 10-time NBA All-Star, part of the top 10 all-time scorers in the NBA, and of course, a select at the 75th anniversary team of the NBA. But today, we are here to look at the other side of the legend, and that is as a social entrepreneur and serial investor. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Carmelo Anthony.
Yes, thanks for having me. Thanks
Carmelo, the past year has been nothing short of eventful for you. After you hung up your boots, you've been busy with a variety of things. You're an author now, you're a podcaster, you're of course a dedicated father, philanthropist. But what really caught my attention is the entrepreneurship side. You've established yourself as quite the entrepreneur. And when you look online, I love seeing these pictures of you with, your banana boat crew, visiting vineyards, tasting wine. You even have a podcast where you're asking what's in your glass.
Yes.
You need to tell us, where did this specific passion start within such a select few of your friends in the league? And at one point, did you think, I need to monetize this?
Well, early on, I would say probably 15 plus years ago.
Oh, wow.
I've started just drinking wine and just getting into it and just having a glass at dinner. And then I just started getting more into the education of it and learning about it. Collecting. I was a collector first.
Okay.
And then after I started collecting, I realized I'm just drinking the wine that I buy. So, I'm spending
Getting expensive.
I'm spending a lot of money on these wines and things that I like to do, but why not transition that into making it a real business? So it took me a while to figure out what was the strategy, what was the business, but me and my partner, we did it.
And you do have a very specific region, no? Châteauneuf-du-Pape, and traditionally this industry is so difficult to penetrate. I would say quite elitist, so competitive. How was the experience in saying, okay, this is an industry I'm willing to put in, people have been doing vineyards for generations on end, and here you are saying, I'm going to do the same thing you're going to be doing?
Well, I wanted to learn it first. I wanted to learn it. It's an industry that's not going anywhere, that's going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger and make wine, and that's the industry that's not going anywhere. So I really wanted to take my time and learn the game and learn the industry and be kind of, self-educated when it comes to
a connoisseur.
Yeah, but the connoisseur came later.
Okay.
Right. So at first I was a student, and then I became, I could sit in the room and have conversations and make sense when I'm talking about wine in the industry. To now it's, I have a full-blown business, being a connoisseur of wine and just the industry and what that brings and what you can create, for yourself, for friends, for family, for the world. We look at the wine as it's a social drink, right? It's something that you do socially. It's something that we can bring groups of people together and socialize and have fun at drinking wine and making wine. So as far as the wine industry goes, I think that for me, that's one of the big ones for me, as far as trying to globalize it. Just globalize it in a sense of what regions we want to do, right? How can I take the concept of World Cup, right, and turn that into a wine event, right? How can we create the World Cup of wines in Spain versus, Portugal and France versus Italy? Is like, how can we tie in that concept from a sports aspect? Okay,
make it more democratized, make it more accessible. And you mentioned global. Are you planning to distribute this on a bigger scale?
Yeah, we are.
Keeping it small in the family estate? Or?
Well, it's small. It's small now. We're working with the Seglio family in Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So that was our first vintage. But yeah, we just want to create these wines and collab with winemakers all over the world, all across the world. And let's see what the world, the taste of the world, like, in these different regions, and how we can come in and shed light and tell stories and create content for winemakers who never would get these opportunities.
Awesome. Now, from wine to your clothing line or apparel line, if I could say, what I loved about it is it's not so trendy. It's not all about the fashion. It's more about the mindset that you want literally emblazoned on t-shirts, and that is stay mellow.
Absolutely.
But then I was wondering, are you always mellow? Have you always been mellow? Is this like a life mindset that you can say you consistently have? Or, are there times that you aren't? And what's the catalyst for these, for putting this on t-shirts for younger generation maybe?
So stay mellow is more of it's a mindset, right? It's a movement. It's not a moment, right? It's about creating a community, like we call it a tribe, of people of alike who are like-minded, who think the same, who may want to just have conversation, who may just want a safe space to talk and vent and learn from other people who's going or dealing with some of the issues that everybody is dealing with.
Okay.
And that's really what Stay Mellow is really about. It's that mindset. It's like how are you in the midst of chaos? And when in doubt, when you second guess yourself and you overthinking it, is like, you stay mellow, right? And just so happened that that's my name, so I didn't have to go out and create something and create something and reinvent the wheel. It's who I am. It's a part of me, and I think the brand is just an extension of who I am.
Okay. Now, you also, of course, have invested in the very industry which gave you livelihood, which is sports. And you have this fund, ISO 7. Part of that, I suppose, is giving back to the community that's loved you so much, accepted you so much. But part of that is still making money, right? You do want to make money. Right? That's the goal. And it's pretty hard to think, okay, which sports teams are going to make me money? Which, I've seen things, you're looking at pickleball, for instance. I mean, what sport, what teams, what leagues are you looking at? What's your specific criteria here?
Well, yeah, so ISO 7 is my investment arm of the business. We launched that, say last year, maybe 12, 14 months ago. But yeah, we're investing in sports franchises. We're investing in sports properties. We're invested in sports adjacencies. So anything sports, we're taking a look at. It's not just domesticated within the U.S., but all over the world, globally. How can we make an impact? How can I make an impact? Getting involved with some of these programs, these teams, these organizations, and seeing what we could do when it comes to sport. I mean, I think sports will be the biggest thing that's out there in 5 to 10 years, right? So no matter whatever happens in the world, you will always have sports.
It's always something to bet on financially.
You can bet on it, you can compete, you can yell, you can scream, you can cry, you can laugh, you can hug, and you can make money from it.
There can be a recession and people will still be playing sports.
It was a shutdown in the U.S. We still was in a bubble, right? So it's like no matter what, sports will galvanize people and bring them together. So why not give back to sports and invest in it?
Any investment opportunities in the Philippines or at least in the region?
We're open. We're looking. I mean, I'm not just here, I am here for FIBA, but I'm also here as a businessman
of
too,
course.
And looking at other opportunities and how we can create change and we can build businesses and get involved with businesses over in this side of the world.
Interesting. Well, there's a good pitch for you then.
Yes, of course. So if anybody out there, sports, come holler.
All right. Now, philanthropy has been close to your heart. You established the Carmelo Anthony Fund. That was 2005, so maybe 17 years ago now. And now you actually have a social change fund, and this also comes vis-a-vis another venture you've had in the entertainment industry where you're trying to give voice to the voiceless, trying to make those films. Give us an idea of, okay, here's the question I want to ask. There's so many problems you want to solve, clearly. There's not enough money to solve that, not enough time. Give us just one thing you want to solve here.
It's hard, man. It's very hard, which is why we created the Social Change Fund. And just that initiative, myself, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Paul, like we came together to figure out, to your point, there's so many issues, that we will have to tackle. But we all had to just pick our lane and pick our issues and pick our causes that we want to deal with and bring and make impact and make change to. Because if we try to change the whole world at one time, we're going to fail at it. And we're not going to have the impact that we want. So we started small. We take these, one thing I want to say, we support this, the foot soldiers that's on the ground and people that's actually really on the ground in these communities. So we just come in and we support those causes.
Okay, and what's your biggest achievement when it comes to philanthropy?
Change. I mean, as long as we can see it, like we want to feel like we're making change, and you know, to me, that's the reward. You know, when you see people and they say thank you, you know, for changing my life, for changing the way that I think, or changing the way that I move day to day. To me, that's when you have a real impact.
And of course, you are FIBA's 2023 Global Ambassador. That's why you're here in the Philippines. But this whole thing is not new to you. You were here, well, you were at FIBA as a player. You led the US to, you know, top 3 in Japan in 2006. How has the game changed? How has the tournament changed? How has basketball changed since then? Now, as let's say an observer or somebody that's watching.
I think the game has changed, for one. The style of play has changed. The players and the talent level across the board, all around the world, has gotten better. The competition is, you know, a lot more than what it was in 2006 as far as top to bottom, right? So you have countries, you know, Sudan, who's making headways over in the World Cup. So I think it's expanding, and you know, to be able to come back now and see it from somebody who, from a different point of view, somebody who was part of USA basketball for umpteen years and forever, and to see it now and to, you know, to understand it and get a different perspective on it. The game is different. The mentality is different.
Would you say it's tougher, easier, the same?
I just think the mindset is different. You know, I think the mindset is just more the competitiveness of, oh, I can beat you. Like, you know, we are representing something. You know, you always represented your country, but I think so now with social media and the fans getting involved, and you know, every single day, you know, you have that engagement, and you can say you're representing a certain country and what that really means. And now the fans can get behind that and support that. And you can see it now. Before you couldn't see it. You couldn't see the fans supporting it. Now social media, you see the fans, you interact with the fans, with the country, with the community. And I just think that's the biggest difference. And
speaking of interacting with the community, it's not your first time in the Philippines, as far as I've seen. How's it been like? And what's your experience being hosted by
Filipinos? I mean, the first time we got here, I think it was back in February. It was beautiful. Like the reception was great. The people was great. I got a chance to kind of just do some tourism, some sightseeing, walk around.
Where are
you know, I got a chance to see some local restaurants and things like that. So I'm not gonna get into that, because that's a whole nother. We have to do a whole nother interview on that. You know, I had to do my own food show on travel show on that.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, I mean, this time, you know, you can tell that they was expecting me here, and I've been here before, and just it's always been a warm welcome.
All right. Well, we wouldn't expect anything less for someone like you, so we're really happy you're happy with that. And of course, you know, before we let you go, Carmelo, what's next for you? What is there to be excited about?
Just building, right? Just building, growing, creating change, making money. You know, of course, that's all. It's not about the money, but you want to make money and give back. So, you know, for me, it's just about creating businesses and creating these lanes that reflect who I am as a person, as a man, as a business, and let's see what works. And we're looking at the global takeover, right? It's like, how do we tap into, you know, this part of the world and other parts of the world where we can really utilize who we are and what we stand for, and bring these other communities together.
And doing all that while staying mellow.
With all the pressure. When in doubt, you stay mellow. You know that. When in doubt.
Very good. Thank you so much, Carmelo Anthony.
Thank you.